Broadcasting on Star Worldwide Networks. It's Two Small Biz Guys. And now, here are your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
You know, it'd be nice if that was included on the Periscope that we're doing. Speaking of Periscope, we're going to be talking about social media today. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Zen. And Periscope has nothing to do with submarines, does it?
Absolutely not, but we could get torpedoed by it.
Okay, this show is going to be a real blast in that case.
It is. They always are. You know, anytime we get together here and share our wit and wisdom as advisorologists.
Advisorologists, that's... People are trying to figure out that word, but I'm glad you like it because it's your word.
You know, I have a great friend who works for IBM, and I asked him one day, I said, what do you think people think of me in their first impression? And he just draws this big question mark.
Oh, okay. Well, that's because he didn't know how to answer.
I am a question, you know. You really got to get to know me to get to know me,
okay.
right?
That's true.
I don't fit the 5 to 7 second rule.
I like that. You got to get to know you to get to know you. That sounds like a true statement.
It does.
Okay.
Now, speaking of getting to know you, social media.
Are we going to dance? That's a song from The King and I.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Okay, but speaking
I'm a little younger than that, though.
Okay, that's true. But speaking of social media, we're going to talk about that today, which is really your domain and your expertise.
No pun intended?
No pun intended.
Okay,
so
good.
I'm kind of going to be the person who's going to ask the questions because I don't know that much about it. So
sometimes I don't think I do either.
Okay, well,
but we'll find out.
Yeah, that's a learning process. So why should a person like me or others really get involved in social media? What is it exactly?
Well, social media is a way to connect across multiple platforms. There's Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter. Those are the main four. And then with Twitter now, you've got things like Periscope, and I think Blab is part of that, or maybe it's just separate. But anyway, there's a way, it's a better way to socialize, and it's how the world is beginning to socialize, which is not to be confused with socialism.
Okay, but if I'm in business, is it my goal to socialize, or is my goal to basically to generate sales and create relationships and what have you?
Yes. And I say that because there's 4 precepts. Now, Tom and Penny Power with originally eAcademy, there are some Brits that really did a bang-up job on something very similar to LinkedIn. And what they say is the 4 premises, they started with 3 actually, know, like, and follow, and then share. So those 4 things, you get to know people online because online is transparent, pretty much. You can hide, but you can't, really, for those that really want to find out more about you, because as you build your social platform, you're consistent throughout all of the social memes, so to speak. Now, in the know, like, follow, and share, these are things that as your business develops, as your reputation is shared, then your business has greater exposure.
Okay, so how do people really get to know you? I mean, when you talk about these various platforms,
Google is everywhere.
I know Google is everywhere. You open up the door and there's Google, but
right.
Or people
it's
want
now
to,
a verb.
Or people want to Oogle instead of Google, or they Google
That's
instead
Uber.
of Google. It's a verb, so
that's
it's an
a different
action. So it's
kind
an
of
action
right.
then.
Right. So most people, once they get your business card or they hear your name or something like that, those that are somewhat technically literate anyway, will go to Google and they'll look you up. Mm-hmm. They'll want to find out more about you. So if you've got platforms or you've got profiles across multiple platforms, you've got multiple ways that they can see you. Each one of those platforms, for instance, Facebook is more B2C, okay, where LinkedIn is more B2B.
Okay.
Google's kind of a mixture. However, there are some tricks that you can use with Google Plus and your Google page. We'll get into those a little later. That will put you in a better ranking in the search engines.
Okay, but you're talking about in the search engine, but right now you're talking about getting to know people. You're talking about building trust. You're talking about people following, liking, and then sharing.
Right.
So in that activity, when people get to know you through Google and looking you up, how do they get to, where does the share part come in?
Well, the share has 2 aspects to it. One is you're looking at others first, Okay, it's the old, I think it was either Zig Ziglar or Carnegie that said, that nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So caring is finding out more about other people, paying attention to what they're posting, liking what they're doing, sharing things that you think are important that connect with you that they are doing as well. And then that also encourages them or your followers, as you develop them, to share your stuff too.
Okay, now, but it's interesting when
Because it's reciprocal.
Yeah, but sometimes I use LinkedIn a little bit. So when somebody contacts me, and I look them up,
Right.
and I find that some people have maybe 95 leads or contacts. Are they really participating in this type of area? Are they missing the boat by not really being involved? Their profile really isn't complete. They have very little information. So it seems like that they're afraid.
In a word, absolutely, they're missing.
Okay, but they seem to be afraid to let the world know about them.
Well, with the digital world now, as I said before, one of the key words is transparency. And people are going to find out about you through records or whatever. They're going to do their searches and due diligence to find out who you are. So why not give them who you are in an honest, authentic, realistic way? And this gives people an opportunity to weed through all the stuff, okay, and because they do business with people. They don't do business with a company.
Mm-hmm.
Your company is one thing, but you are a person, and the relationship that you build with others, that's part and parcel to sharing yourself through your profile.
Now, the aspect is that with social media, it's not really face-to-face so much, unless you're on Periscope or Google+. But
or Skype.
But a lot of the aspect
or
is...
Google Hangouts.
Okay, but the old face-to-face relationship is changing, where it's kind of, I typed this in, or I dictated in, or whatever. And it's words on paper or words on a screen
not
rather
necessarily.
than words together.
That's one aspect of it, yes. However, with the digital technology that we have now, it takes away the need for traveling.
Mm-hmm.
You can connect with somebody face-to-face from your desk across the world.
Okay, now, but you also mentioned the aspect of doing this. And how much time does a person, in order to be effective in social media, how much time should they really invest in this activity?
Well, it depends on how effective you want to be, first of all, because it does take time. And it will take more time initially as you're getting to know, like, follow, and share.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
But as you're getting to know the environment, then you're going to feel, especially if you're new to it, you're going to feel kind of dumb, right? And a lot of people with technology, they think they're going to break it, so they're hesitant to click or push a button or change something. Well, you can always go back and fix things. However, there are some things that you got to think about, that if you're going to be posting stuff on any kind of social network, it's out there. So many employers and company owners, as they're vetting their employees or their potential employees, they'll go to the search engines and look them up and find out about them first there. But the aspect about, to use one of your favorite words, about the shift from the face-to-face to the social side of it or to the digital side of it, it really can eliminate a lot of expenses.
Well, I understand. I mean, I remember way back when, in one of my meetings, that someone said, this was when MySpace was first developed, and they said they would go into MySpace to look up a person before.
Of course,
they had
Tom
the
reaches out to everyone.
Okay. And they were shocked at what people would put up in some of these areas. So the aspect is, if you're in business, sometimes you have to be careful what you post.
Right, and a lot of times that's specific to generations. You know, the millennials don't care. They'll post anything. And the language, the types of photos, I cringe at the stuff that my kids...
Wait a second. You cringe?
I do.
No.
I cringe at the kind of stuff that my kids put online.
Oh, my gosh.
It's like, oh, my God, do you realize? And it's like, well, okay, they're doing it. That it's acceptable to their generation. And the interesting thing is that the rest of us just have to learn how to accept it and move on, because it's the way they are.
Okay. So the aspect is when you're talking about the social media, and you mentioned different platforms. So LinkedIn, which is, you said B2B, and Facebook was B2C primarily, and some of the others.
Right.
Do you need to have a different type of language and persona in each one of these different platforms?
Absolutely. And the reason being, you're speaking to a different audience, and you need to cater your language to that audience.
So is that really being that you are telling people who you really are by having this different persona?
That's not a different persona. It's a different language that shares the same persona. It shows how adept you are at crafting your message to your audience.
Okay. Now, when people on Facebook, which, you know, I'm on Facebook, but basically you have
No,
me
you're
on
not.
Facebook. I'm not there. So every now and then I go and look and see what's going on, but
Right.
I don't know how to do it or what to do with it.
Well, you did notice the other day that I posted something, and that was a sincere compliment, the fact that you even went there.
Oh, and you were probably shocked.
I was.
You're getting over that. I was trying to figure out what this word meant, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
So when you go to Facebook and you're first starting out, how do you really know what's going on? What is a like?
A like means that you like what the person has posted. So there's all kinds. There's graphic memes so it's got a message in an image. There's people that write certain things. There are people who give quotes of others. There are people who tell personal stories. There's people who share business successes. Now, that's not always necessarily on the person's personal profile page. That's usually kept for sharing in either groups or pages, and we'll get into that in one of the next segments.
Okay, good. Well, I think some of these segments require more drilling down to learn a lot more about them. But we were going to talk.
Yeah, and that's why we give them as teasers, right?
That's right.
That's what radio is all about. We're going to tease you all.
Tease, titillate, and
Now let's have no Permazen comments about the teasing, okay?
I only tease my hair.
You're going to raise my hair, okay? Hair-raising experience.
Okay, we were also going to talk about SEOs. We're going to talk about that, or is you going to put that for a different time?
Well, SEO is we're going to filter that through each one of the platforms as we speak with them. We're going to talk about LinkedIn, Google Plus, and Facebook, not necessarily in that order.
Okay, real quick, why don't you just tell me what an SEO is? All these
SEO means
acronyms.
search engine optimization. So if you're building a website or a personal profile or a page, then you want to make sure that your keywords are consistent with how you want to represent yourself on the web. So if people are looking for you, they're going to use certain keywords in their search. You want to make sure that you know what those are and include those liberally, like an ointment, all over your body.
So we're going to hear more about
your body
keywords.
social, that
We're going
is.
to hear more about keywords very shortly, I assume.
We will. And we'll be right back with you. Hope you're enjoying things. More to come. Thanks for listening to Two Small Biz Guys.
Two Small Biz Guys with Zen and Ray. We'll be back after this.
Hi, I'm Zen Benefiel with Be the Dream Transformational Life Coaching and Professional Services at BeTheDream.com. Our mission? To provide leading-edge transformational personal and business development services. Our services include life coaching, enterprise coaching, partnering facilitations, and possibilities coagulating. We've been in business since 1988. In times of massive change, you need someone who can help you adjust and transform. I can meet that challenge with you, offering a stellar skill set from serving individuals and companies for over 20 years. I invite you to peruse BeTheDream.com and put me to the test. Fill out the coaching assessment survey and give me a call. The first call is free, and you can find out if I'm what you are looking for in a coach, consultant, or service provider. Call 480-633-7179. Let your dreams mold future realities. BeTheDream.com.
As a business owner, have you ever felt alone at the top? You don't have to be. Ray Silverstein has worked with many business owners for over 20 years facilitating peer advisory boards. He is the proverbial mentor and tormentor. A Pro President's Peer Advisory Board is a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive owners that give support, feedback, and knowledge. They know the adage, all of us are smarter than one of us. He has walked in your shoes, having owned and sold 2 companies with sales in excess of $60 million and approximately 1,300 employees. In Young President's organization, he participated in peer advisory boards and felt it was a key to his success. His passion is to help small business owners succeed. He knows peer boards work when you are open, don't feel like you know it all, are willing to put issues on the table, and willing to take criticism. Be his guest at a Pro Advisory Board meeting to see if it works for you. There's no commitment to join, and you'll have a great experience. To sample a free Pro Business Owner Peer Board, email ray@propres.com. That's ray@propres.com. There's no commitment or charge. You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys. Now, back to your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
And welcome back to Two Small Biz Guys. We're talking about social media today. We're just kind of giving you a brief outline, and hopefully you'll want to drill down.
An overview.
An overview. Well, you know, one of our commercials is about my social media prowess.
Oh, your social media prowess.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds very enticing.
Yeah, it's audacious, isn't it?
Oh, my God, prowess.
Yeah, saying I'm a prowler.
Prowler.
Ooh, does that mean I'm stalking? Oh
No.
Well, you can stalk people on social media.
No, stalking is when you put before you put your shoes on, you put your socks on. Right.
Yeah, right.
Stalking.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay, so we were talking before a little bit about Facebook. So, how is Facebook used? Because this is basically a business show, but what is Facebook and how can you use it for business?
There's a lot of small business concerns that use Facebook religiously. And by that I mean they are on it constantly. They use the features.
When you say religiously, does that mean they say pray tell or something like that?
They pray for results actually, because you really have to understand the inner workings of Facebook in order to get the results that you need. You're going to have to realize that one of the things that's necessary is you're probably going to want to run some kind of Facebook ad.
Okay.
And those are pay-per-click oriented, and you can budget with the Facebook features. There's all kinds of ways that you can zero in on your specific target market and get really focused.
Okay, so on Facebook, if you use Facebook ads, I know a little bit about that.
You see them all the time, or at least when you're on there.
Well, I don't see you too often because I'm not on there
Right.
very often. But the aspect is, okay, my understanding is with Facebook ads, you can go in and do ads based on certain keywords that a person has, or they put a word in that says vacation. So if I'm on a hotel, I might want to go to people in certain zip codes,
Right.
and certain keywords or whatever it might be. I also understand. I hear that Facebook ads are very reasonable. Is that true, or?
By and large, yeah, I would have to say they are, depending on the results that you want, the volume of results that you want, and your budget.
Okay, now if I use Facebook ads, does it drive them to my Facebook page, or does it drive them to my website, or what is the process for using an ad on Facebook?
That's part of the choices that you're giving in creating the ad. You can drive them to a website, you can drive them to a landing page, you can drive them to a video, you can drive them to a newsletter sign up.
You're telling me you can drive them crazy is what you're telling me. All those choices.
Most assuredly.
Okay, so what you're basically saying, if you're going into Facebook or any of these social media, you have to have a strategy behind it,
Right.
as to where you want people to go and what you're going to give them more information on.
Of course, as with any kind of business marketing activity, you have to start with the strategy and then look at what you're going to need to do in order to implement the strategy and get the results you want.
Okay, now you also mentioned pages before, or
Perfect.
or groups, or what?
We
what
got some kind of advisorology happening here with our
mental telepathy.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between pages and groups and whatever?
Okay, well, let's start with the profile. A profile is your basic information: who you are, where you live, your relationships, yada yada yada. Okay. In order to create a page or a group, you must have a profile. And don't put your business up as your personal profile. That's like a social media no-no.
This is on Facebook.
This is on any of them.
Okay.
Okay, you want to be who you are. First of all, you want to be authentic as much as possible. For me, I got to kind of hold back a little bit because I
You don't want to overwhelm them.
yeah, exactly, or underwhelm. You never know. So the Facebook page is a well. Let's go alphabetically first. Let's talk about groups. Groups can be put together for various topics and reasons. And in the development of the group, you basically invite your friends, and you have your friends invite other friends. There's an invitation feature. Once you set the group title, you set its description for whatever it is that you're wanting to do, be it holistic health or tire repair. And it doesn't really matter. And then you invite people to that group, and then you can post information, and of course they do too.
So groups are by invite only. Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily, no. Because once you create a group, it's in the database, and people who are looking for keywords or doing a keyword search in Facebook can find those groups if they're associated with it. That's why earlier we talked about the necessity of using keywords, especially in the SEO realm, because you've got relevancy, you've got the quality of content that comes from it.
So if I go to somebody's Facebook page, would it tell me what groups that they participate in?
We're talking about groups right now.
Yeah.
Or
do I have to go to a group search in order to find it?
For groups, you'd have to go to a group search, or sometimes you can even just plug in keywords, and across the top you'll get the tabs as to which area you want to search in. Facebook actually offers you that now. They didn't used to. They're still improving.
Well, I hope so.
Over 1 billion users, you think they would,
Yeah, things take a while.
Right.
Okay, so groups are where people form these groups of similar interests.
Right. Associative groups, things that they have common interest in, or things that you want them to have common interest in.
Okay, so what are pages then?
Pages are your actual business presentation. So you have a profile picture, you've got a cover art, you've got a way to use your branding, and you can even use your branding in the groups and on your profile page too if you want. But in the pages, you've got the ability to put your branding up, your contact information, your hours, your pricing, all of the things that you would do with a normal storefront. Only this is click and mortar, not brick and mortar.
Oh, okay. So with the page is basically now, could you have a page put up for an interest area also? Or is it primarily a business type of activity?
Yes, you can have a page for interest area. It's more often than not used for, in our situation. Well, I say that. I'm not sure. I haven't done the stats to drill down into it to see which is more prolific.
Can a person have multiple pages?
Yes.
So you can have a page that wants to talk about
you can have multiple pages and multiple groups.
Okay, so you can
That's just going to depend on how much time you have to manage them.
Okay.
Or whether you want to hire somebody to do it, because a lot of the major corporations now have a full-time person and or staff that manages their social media.
Okay, so on the pages and also the groups, does a person promote those? In other words, if I create a page, so it's out there, but if nobody looks at it, it doesn't do any good. So how do I get people to go to my page on this particular activity?
Well, how I do it specifically, I have several pages. One of them in particular is the page for Two Small Biz Guys, right?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, go figure. So I better practice what I preach, otherwise I'm pretty useless, huh? So the proliferation of our Two Small Biz Guys page is done through going to different groups. Like, for instance, in Arizona, we have Arizona Men Networking, we have Arizona Small Businesses, we have Holistic Business Alliance, we have the Conscious Community, and on and on. These are different groups.
But these are Facebook groups.
These are Facebook groups.
Not LinkedIn groups.
Correct. Well, we're talking about Facebook.
Yeah, I understand.
You're getting ahead of it.
Well, I'm just...
You're just leading me on here.
No, I wasn't going to even ask you a question. I just want to know
But you
for my
did.
own, because I get confused.
Yeah,
so.
it's your old age, Ed.
That's right. I forget.
Okay.
I'm entitled to forget.
You are. You're geriatrically gifted, and those folks need some consideration and compassion.
Yeah, that's right. But
Right.
but it's because you're all envious because we got this far.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go back to these pages.
Okay, so
now.
the Facebook pages. What was the question?
Well, can I have? I remember the question. Now you have a problem.
Okay, I get sidetracked easily.
Okay.
Now, bringing it back.
So we were talking about multiple pages and how you promote these pages.
Oh, the pages through the different groups. So all said and done, we have our Two Small Biz Guys postings to about 20 different groups in the Phoenix area.
Okay.
And that was when we were on air. We still use those, and I've expanded that out to about 10 or 15 more national groups.
Okay. Now, when you do this, can you post all these groups simultaneously, or do you have to do each one individually?
Well, you can. If you're the admin, you can use a tool called Hootsuite. And
Hootsuite?
Hootsuite.
Oh,
Hoot.
Okay.
And their pro version allows you to set up posts that you can send to each one of those groups without having to do it all individually. Most of the time, folks will need to do that individually because they're not the group owners or administrator.
Oh, okay. So only okay. So
Yeah, you have to have admin permissions
that's
to
for
do
groups,
that.
but for
Right.
pages, if you have multiple pages,
You still can't do it
okay.
simultaneously. You have to go through each one of them. Again, you can do that with Hootsuite. It does have features to do that.
Okay, now within Facebook, is there a way that you can find out who actually looks at your pages or who participates?
Yes.
In you? So
Yes, there
there
are analytics behind the page that you can get to once you understand how the page works and all the features that it does provide.
okay.
And anytime you run an ad, you will get analytics from that ad too.
Okay, and also on ads, can you do what they call re-ads, I guess, or
Remarketing.
remarketing? Okay,
That's a Google feature.
it's almost like remarkable. So
We are, aren't we?
yeah, that's true too, but that's a different issue.
Mm.
So with Facebook, you have not only you start off with, you're telling me is you start off with your profile, so people get to know you.
Right.
Then you can create or participate in groups, so you have even a
So people
broader
get to like you.
like you, okay, because you have a common interest, and
Right.
people like themselves many times.
And that's how they get to know you.
Okay, and then you can put out your pages, which are really, as your groups are kind of broad and the pages are very narrow. on
Which,
them.
provided you've done the prior 3 effectively, then they will share you.
And when they share you, what do you mean by sharing you?
That goes back to the know, like, follow, and share.
I mean, but when
Okay.
they say share, does that mean that they're going to distribute your information, or that means that they're going
They
to?
will further distribute it. Every time somebody likes it, or they will make a comment, it shows up on their page as well, so it's in their newsfeed. So those kinds of things, whenever someone interacts with you, there's a certain amount of sharing that takes place from that.
Oh, this sounds so exciting. This kind of means that
It really kind of is when you can get over the lack of the face-to-face interaction, and for a lot of folks today, it's easier for them to communicate online.
Now, it seems like a lot of business owners that I deal with now, they're generally 50 or older, but they have a reluctance to even use Facebook. They hardly use it at all. Maybe they just use it like you do to check on their kids to see what their kids are posting.
That's usually most current for the boomers and beyond.
Boomers and beyond.
Boomers and yeah, I like that. Boomers and beyond. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the boomers and the
So
traditionalists.
they have a reluctance even. I shouldn't say reluctance, but they don't think about it.
There's still a few early adopters and folks that are in that realm, but by and large, yes.
Okay. So basically, if you define your audience as a younger type of audience, demographically,
Right.
Then Facebook is a good vehicle for you to use.
Especially if you're a B2C.
Yeah, B2C.
Company.
Okay.
Right.
And on a B2B basis, does it work for you, or is it?
Well, speaking of a B2B basis, sometimes it does. And with B2B, we'll be right back. Thanks for listening to Two Small Biz Guys. How's that for cutting out and getting away? And we'll be right back. Thanks for listening.
Two Small Biz Guys with Zen and Ray. We'll be back after this. Business owners want to call their own shots, make appropriate income, and control their destiny. Our passion is to help you achieve your goals. A Pro-Peer Advisory Board is just the thing. It's a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive owners facilitated by a pro who has walked in your shoes. He's your mentor and tormentor, moving you ahead. When you have issues or opportunities keeping you awake, where do you get help? Pro boards give support and non-biased feedback from your peers. To sample a free Pro President's Board meeting, email ray@propres.com. There's no commitment or charge. Email ray@propres.com.
Are you a small business owner looking for education and information and don't have time for school? Is there an area of your business you'd like to know more about but aren't sure where to go or who to ask? Practical Biz U is an online repository of small business courses now available to you on the web. There are single class options, bundles for specific areas, and monthly memberships for ongoing learning opportunities. Go to practicalbizu.com and sign up today.
You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys. Now, back to your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
All right, welcome back to Two Small Biz Guys, and we're talking about social media today, and
right now we're going to oogle to Google.
we're going to oogle to Google.
Google
and,
to oogle. Which is it?
Well, we're going to be socially mediated extroverts for a moment.
Okay. So there's I hear people talking about Google Plus. What is
Google.
Yeah, what is? I know what it is to Google, but what
Sounds
is
like
it
a straw
to
in a
Google
cup,
Plus?
Google.
Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Your people in the next booth love you. I know that.
They do.
Yeah.
I make all kinds of noise.
So what is Google
Not
Plus?
always relevant.
What does a plus mean?
Well, Google Plus is a way that Google has taken their social media platform to its next level. And what that means is that, like Facebook now, you can do Google profiles, you can have a personal profile, and you can have Google pages. And their groups are actually called communities.
Okay.
So it's the same basic setup as Facebook.
So it's really just a Google marketing activity.
Yeah,
which
Google
is,
wants to be everywhere, and this is one of the ways that they're increasingly doing so.
Okay, so it's kind of emulating a Facebook format.
Yeah.
But I also understand within Google, or maybe it's Google Plus, that there's also a Skype feature to that, or am I jumping ahead somewhere?
You can, even with Facebook, there's a video version. It's not Skype, it's called Hangouts, and it's how you can connect with others via a video link.
Okay.
So you can do live video.
Okay, so
And you can do
like
webinars, or you can do social chats, you can do instructional programs, whatever it is that.
No, so is that?
And they may not be that funny.
Okay, is that part of the Google Plus format?
Yes, it's in Google Plus, and it's called Hangouts.
Okay.
Now, back to let's look at the basics again.
Okay.
Profile, pages, communities. Same kind of keyword structure, same kind of authenticity. You've got a different audience here, very similar to Facebook, but somewhat a little more business oriented. And the reason I say that is because Google Pages you can link your business to, and it will show relevance in Google Maps. So if people are looking for your kind of business, it will show up on the Google page in their local business listings.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now, it's really key that you have an ultimate focus on your specific keywords, knowing what your customers are going to be looking for, and incorporating those keywords in your page profile, in your business description, and even in the posts that you make. One of the things that's really cool, I find really cool about Google, and
You're getting excited now. So
I am,
calm
because
down.
it's amazing, and I was really baffled by the result as to how quick it happened. I posted some things about various topics, and I used the keywords, and I even used the hashtag symbol to further, I guess, annotate those keywords, and when I did a search for those keywords in Google, by golly, those posts showed up on the first page.
First page of what?
Of Google.
Of the Google search.
Right.
Under the SEO activity.
Right.
Okay.
Now, some of them, I noticed they happened right away. So others were there for a little while and then they disappeared, and others took their place. However, the activity itself, once you're in the engine or in the database, so to speak, you're there. And so
Okay.
every time that search happens, your article is going to come up.
Okay. Now, when you mention words or keyword, is a keyword
Word.
Is a keyword can be a group of words?
Yes.
Does Google?
You don't want to. It's like any bullet points. If the old death by PowerPoint thing, 3 to 5.
Okay. So, but also, if you were to search, just for curiosity, because
I'm always on a search, Ray. You know that.
I do what they call, as you're aware, I do peer boards, and some people call them peer groups.
Right.
So if I use the word peer boards, if a person was searching for peer groups, would there be an intellectual type of intelligence that would also show that, or I have to use the exact
They call those
terms?
algorithms.
Algorithms.
And heuristics.
Okay, so do I have to use the exact term, or is there something in there that kind of
Well,
leads
my
them?
heuristics, instead of your
I can't even
heuristics.
pronounce it, so let's just move off that word.
Okay, I was trying. I'm very trying, I know. So, in the relevance of the intelligence behind the screen, yes, those things will be loosely associated. They'll show up further down the search engine pages. However, one of the terms that I use for yours is peer advisory boards. And if you plug that into Google, you're on the first page. Now, that's the website. That's not necessarily the social media side of things.
Okay, you didn't say it, but you also talk about
I might have. You never know.
Circles. So circles means that I'm going around and getting dizzy, or what does circles actually mean when
May
I'm
the
in
circle
Google?
be unbroken. The circles are ways that you collect people for specific focus areas.
In other words, these are interest groups?
Can be interest groups, can be other people's profiles that you like or that you just connect to, because there's all kinds of different circles that you can create. I still think with, and this may change shortly, but the limit on Facebook is 5,000, and I think it's a 5,000 limit on Google as well, as far as the number of people you can have in your circles.
In a circle, or in a
Total.
in a group also?
That would be communities on, I don't know.
Okay, because I know
I haven't had to reach that far yet.
because I know on LinkedIn you sometimes see some groups which are 100,000 or more in some of these very popular
there are the
areas.
same groups, the same type of numbers, more on Google Plus than on Facebook, and especially with LinkedIn, which we'll get into in the next segment.
So I know that you're a tricky guy. So what are some of the SEO
I
tricks?
have my ways.
Yes, you have your face. So what are some of the SEO tricks out there that people could use?
Ooh, well, that's what they pay me for. But I will
Well,
say
you
this.
wrote it down to ask you. So.
I did.
So
didn't
this
I?
is a teaser. You're just going to give them the first sentence.
Here's
and
the
they gotta
Google
figure out
model.
the
We
rest.
give our best away first, and then we develop. This is how this. Okay, this goes back to the know, like, follow, and share premise. Okay.
So now you're sharing
I am sharing.
because
So-
only because you like me.
Exactly,
And
and I
you
like
know
our
me.
audience too. I love everyone. You're next.
Oh, you sound like Donald Trump now.
Yeah. Ooh. Hey.
Okay.
Boy, that
Okay.
they went
so
the
let's
evergreen.
So let's go back to what are some of the SEO,
SEO
tricks?
tricks. Well, one of them I already mentioned, of using your keyword terms in your posts and making sure that you use the hashtags in them. So that will bring it up just as an article, and then for those who are looking for something,
So when
they'll
you
follow through with
so
that.
when you refer to that, so you're talking about by making a posting, and I come to
Hopefully
a key,
you're doing it regularly.
yeah. If I come to a keyword, I put a hashtag in front of it, a
Yeah.
hash mark,
Yeah.
which is the number sign.
Yes. Pound.
I put it right in front
Pound
of
number.
pound number.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Shift.
mathematically
Shift
oriented.
3.
So you put that directly in front of that term.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you put no spaces in it, and it will actually highlight that term.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Right. And if you have a 2 or 3 word term, then you want to make sure you still don't put the spaces in between, because it will break it up.
So in other words, it would
Unless you put a hashtag in front of each one of the terms, and they're relevant enough to do
Okay,
so.
so for example, just to tell something, if I use a hashtag advisory boards, I would leave no space between advisory and board.
Right.
So it's all one word. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. That sounds like that's kind of tricky.
Well, that's, like I say, it was one of those things that I didn't know you could do. And a lot of things that I discover, I do so because I don't know you can't do them. So I was like, okay, I'll try this. Who knows?
Now, since we're talking
And
about
I encourage our listeners when they're exploring social media, try different things. Explore. You can't break anything. If you can't do it, you'll find out. But
Yeah.
it's better to test the waters or the cyberspace than not.
Okay. Since we're talking about Google, it used to be that people would talk about on websites using meta tags. And I understand that is kind of not as popular today. First of all, what is a meta tag?
They say
anyway?
it is. And a meta tag, it's code that's behind your page that no one sees but the search engines. And that goes again to the SEO and the keyword relevancy, keyword content, image tags, all of those kinds of things need to be consistent. And meta tags, even though they say that Google's kind of phasing them out, I'm not quite so sure. I would say it's better to keep them than not.
Better to have them than not have them, is
You
what
bet.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if they really have eliminated them or not.
The haves always have more than the have-nots, right?
That's absolutely true.
Now, depending on whether you want to, be a monk in a monastery, but we're not doing that.
You also mentioned schema markup. What the heck is a schema markup?
Schema is it's a tag that goes at the head of your blog post, and this is more relevant for blog posts than anything else. Because the tags don't necessarily work in social media posts like that. But in the blog post, you'll put the title of the article, a link that might be in it that you need to be relevant, just some basic information. And if you look up the term schema in Google, you can find out more about that. And a lot of it's more geared toward the WordPress world.
Okay. Now,
Because that's primarily, blogs.
okay, you brought up blogging.
Uh-oh.
How does blogging tie into, say, either possibly Facebook or into Google, since we talked about these two areas?
It's all blogging, whether it's micro-blogging on Twitter, micro-blogging, which is for...
It sounds like a micro beer. I mean,
cerveza.
okay. Here, I'll drink to that.
Yeah, me too. So...
So what is microblogging? A short little is that a short blog?
Microblogging in regard to Twitter is 140 characters.
Okay, so Twitter is a microblog.
It is, and it's set up as a microblogging. So you got to say what you want to say, really quick, really short, right to the point, and you can put links in that. So that's the advantage of that.
So when people also, you mentioned there's a certain amount of analytics in some of these. So if you put up a blog and maybe you put up the first paragraph or so and you want them to read more, they have to click to read more. Does that show up, or do you do that in blogging, or do you do that just in emails, or what?
Well, you can do both of those, and it will show that there are click-throughs to that information. Now, careful, you're on camera here.
I'm off screen. I'm off screen. I have to put the periscope up higher.
Yeah, you do. So the posting, there's really cool plugins that you can put into WordPress that allows you to simultaneously post to your various platforms when you post your blog. So it will. That's one of the things that can happen simultaneously.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's part of what I do as far as integrating your website and blog or whatever.
Another
into
trick. So in other words, you can put up a blog and goes to Facebook, it goes to Google Plus,
Better than
it
putting
goes,
up a parking lot.
it goes to all these different places.
Right.
Okay, that's pretty neat.
Right. So you can park yourself in many different places simultaneously and put yourself in front of thousands by doing so. And in sales and things, developing your business, it's all about numbers, right?
Going back, when somebody says they like what you posted,
Yeah.
what do you do with the like?
You embrace it because someone...
What does embracing mean? So I embrace it. So it makes me feel good that somebody liked it. But what do I send back a message? I'm glad that you liked it. Do I complete the communication, or do I just say, "Oh, that's really nice"?
Normally, in developing the relationships online, you acknowledge the person somehow. Oftentimes, you can start, if they're not a friend already, you can use the @ symbol and type out their name that's on their profile, and it will create a link that will then that will let them know that they've been mentioned somewhere. So it gives them an acknowledgement that, hey, yeah, I saw your post and I thought it was cool, or, thank you. Whatever kind of acknowledgement that you choose to make, whatever fits with your personality online, is something that is important that you do.
Okay. So you're telling me with all these things we can do more linking.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about LinkedIn shortly.
Yes, we are. And we'll be right back with you to talk about that more. Thanks for listening to Two Small Biz Guys.
Two Small Biz Guys with Zen and Ray. We'll be back after this.
Hi, I'm Zen Benefiel with Be the Dream Transformational Life Coaching and Professional Services at BeTheDream.com. Our mission? To provide leading-edge transformational personal and business development services. Our services include life coaching, enterprise coaching, partnering facilitations, and possibilities coagulating. We've been in business since 1988. In times of massive change, you need someone who can help you adjust and transform. I can meet that challenge with you, offering a stellar skill set from serving individuals and companies for over 20 years. I invite you to peruse BeTheDream.com and put me to the test. Fill out the coaching assessment survey and give me a call. The first call is free, and you can find out if I'm what you are looking for in a coach, consultant, or service provider. Call 480-633-7179. Let your dreams mold future realities. BeTheDream.com.
Business owners want to call their own shots, make appropriate income, and control their destiny. Our passion is to help you achieve your goals. A Pro Peer Advisory Board is just the thing. It's a confidential monthly meeting of non-competitive owners facilitated by a pro who has walked in your shoes. He's your mentor and tormentor, moving you ahead. When you have issues or opportunities keeping you awake, where do you get help? Pro Boards give support and non-biased feedback from your peers. To sample a free Pro President's Board meeting, email ray@propres.com. There's no commitment or charge. Email ray@propres.com. You're listening to Two Small Biz Guys. Now, back to your hosts, Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein.
All right, welcome back to Two Small Biz Guys. We're going to start this segment off by thanking you for listening again, and we're going to be talking about LinkedIn now.
Oh, LinkedIn. Okay.
Over to you. We're going to link up, Ray. How's that?
That sounds pretty good. I mean, it was interesting in my groups. One of
Just
the
good?
fellows going back, this must go back 5 or 6 years ago, he was talking about LinkedIn. And
LinkedIn's been around for over a decade,
Yeah, nobody knew what it really was.
or almost a decade.
But he was a recruiter.
Right.
And in the recruiting, that was a very big, and I guess it still is a very big deal, using LinkedIn a lot. So in LinkedIn, is it kind of like Facebook and Google Plus regarding profiles, circles, groups, and all that kind of good stuff?
It is, with a little extra flair, and that is that it's more professional. So when you're dealing with things on a more professional basis, you want to be even more selective on the way you present yourself. And you want to make sure that your profile in LinkedIn is very professional in its appearance. Now, you can still be kind of, weird and goofy and things. You can put your own style in there, but just make sure that that's also part of what represents your business and how you want people to take you or give you
Okay.
or embrace you
Now, you said earlier that LinkedIn...
or know, like, follow, and share you.
Okay. Like, follow, and share. So you mentioned earlier that LinkedIn is more for B2B and Facebook was
It
more
is.
B2C.
LinkedIn originally...
Why is that?
Well, LinkedIn originally started out as a recruiter site. So you're for job seekers, basically. And then it turned into more of a sales and recruitment and B2B type arrangements, where now there's all kinds of companies that are using third-party software to squeeze into the bowels of LinkedIn in order to pull out information to build their sales call, or even Salesforce now is integrated into LinkedIn by their own design.
So you said if I'm going to be on LinkedIn, I should have more of a professional profile. So what items should I really have in there?
Well, your profile, it gives you, a certain number of characters, and I think it's 20,000.
Characters, you talking about my friends and relatives?
I'm talking
what?
about us as being
Oh,
characters.
okay.
No, we're not caricatures either. No, the specific characters. So, like I mentioned, the Twitter's microblogging, 140 characters, same kind of thing. Okay, they are each individual letter, mark, punctuation, space, everything's counted. So that's one area. That's in your summary. Then you also have a way to put your job history or your professional history up there, things you've done, companies you've been with. You can create separate sections that feature and highlight each one of those. And you can include works of art, you can include books, you can include videos, SlideShare's integrated with them. That's another feature. So if you've done PowerPoint presentations or keynote presentations, you can load those up and help to show your expertise and prowess in your area of focus that way.
And they also understand that they show a percentage as to how good your profile is.
Yes. There's a lot of automatic features in it. They'll show, and even in the paid versions of it, they will show you how many people have looked at you recently, who they are, and you can see who you might want to reach out and then further up, because once somebody looks at you, then it might be a good idea for you to look back at them and say something.
So within LinkedIn,
It's all about creating conversation.
So
right?
I can create a conversation within LinkedIn. I can send them an email or InMail, whatever they call it.
Right. There's two forms. The InMail and emails are there's posts you can send to anybody that you are friends with or that you is a follower.
Yeah.
Right.
And you also mentioned company pages or showcase pages. What is a showcase page?
A showcase page is an offshoot of the company page. First of all, you have to have a personal profile in LinkedIn. Then you can create a company page. And a company page will include your branding. It'll have a cover image. It'll have a profile image, just like your profile page. And that's another thing I didn't mention, that you have a way of branding yourself with your cover page or cover art and your profile picture too. And make sure that you have a profile photo. Don't put a profile up there and leave it blank with a picture. That's just really unprofessional and looked down upon in the social guidelines of what LinkedIn is. So you can take that, and then from the company page, once you build that, and once you get into it, there's it'll walk you through the process. The showcase page allows you to take a specific item, service, product that you deliver and really expound upon it and include testimonials and photos and all those kinds of things. And then you can include those. Each one of those sections actually has a way to post things too. So as you build your followers for your company, you want to make sure that you actually put some relevant posts in there too. A lot of that can be done through automation as well. Content's king, quality's queen. Keep
Okay.
those two things. Content is king, quality is queen. So you can set up these things with automated features, which is part of what I do as well.
Okay. Now, so when you do this, how is this different than having your website? Or can you also link to your website instead of these special pages? Or which is better? Is it better to have company pages or showcase pages than having people go to your website?
The more you have on the web, the easier you are to find.
So
Okay.
does that mean that if I have a showcase page or a company page within LinkedIn, I'm on the web?
Yes.
So what you're saying is
Yeah,
redundant?
your profile page will come up in Google search. If you go to search for your name and you've got a LinkedIn profile page, it'll be on the first page of Google.
Okay, so therefore you're basically saying it's better to have redundancy on some of these things and not have...
Redundant systems, yes. And each one of those systems is slightly different.
So you don't want to be overlooked.
No.
Okay.
Well, that's the whole thing about it being social and socialization on the web. This is how we're all learning how to get along better.
Okay, I'm getting so excited. My pulse rate is starting to go up. So
Oh,
tell
good.
me about Pulse.
Oh, Pulse. Hey, I love that segue. Pulse is a feature within within LinkedIn, within Google. No, it's
You're-
not.
you're getting-
I'm being goofy now.
You're
Goof-
getting... You're
I'm a Googleite.
No, you're covering your IT so you can't see what you're saying. That's
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
statement.
So, in the Pulse realm, bum, 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 they're all articles of people who post relevant content. And you have to apply to be an author in Pulse. So that may take a little bit of time. They're generally pretty quick with that. And I haven't heard of anyone being refused.
Okay, but if you're an author within Pulse, where's your stuff get posted?
It gets posted to your followers and to the main news feed in LinkedIn.
So it goes to your followers. Does it go to, if you participate in a group, does it go to people in that group too?
If they're followers, it doesn't necessarily. Now, you can take it once you have the article posted, you can actually repost snippets of it and link to the specific groups, and or you can share it with them through the features within LinkedIn.
So from
You
your
can target individuals and or groups.
Okay, so from your observation, is Pulse a thing that a person should participate in, or is it just something that's an additional feature?
If you're good at writing content and relevant content, yes.
Is there a restriction as to the number of characters in Pulse, like you mentioned?
I haven't seen
Twitter?
any. No, they have a cover or an article, photo, picture, some kind of graphic that you put in, your title, and then as far as I know, there's certain limitations that you want to consider as far as what you're giving people to weed through.
Okay. Do you want to use hashtags like you mentioned before?
Hashtags in LinkedIn are not effective.
Okay, so you want to just write it straight out.
Write it straight out. Now, there are, at the end of the Pulse article, there are keywords that you can put in that are effective.
And
there's 3 of them that you're given.
you're given 3. I mean, you select the keywords, or they
Yes.
suggest it.
You select them.
Oh.
Now, you can start writing in one of the keywords, and then it'll give you suggestions as to what you might want to use. And you can select one of those or just leave it as your own.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is if you're going to really use LinkedIn and you really want to get excited, you ought to participate in Pulse.
Yeah, and participate. Again, the know, like, follow, and share rules apply. I would think more so with LinkedIn if you're wanting to develop business relationships than any place else, because people want to be engaged. And when you're engaging others, they're going to engage you somehow.
So on all these various things where people send you articles, whether it be Google Plus or LinkedIn and so forth, what is your comment on replying to these type of
Well, first of all,
articles
you
or
want to
postings?
acknowledge that they've made the effort. So you can tag them in the post in your thank yous. And depending on the number of thank yous you want to send out, the number of people that you include in them, it may take you a little while. You can send it out through connecting with everybody in your contact base in the back end of LinkedIn and or any of the others.
So on Google Plus, because I must get 50 Google Plus things a day.
Right.
And is there a way that I can?
They'll go into your spam folder.
They go delete, delete, delete.
Right.
So is it possible that you could say, okay, anything with Google Plus, I send back a response that says thank you for your article?
I wouldn't. And again,
What would
know,
you do? Delete, delete, delete?
A lot of times I do, because it's not necessarily relevant to me, and people who are marketers will send their stuff out to any and everyone they can, just because it's a sheer numbers game, right? It's like getting direct mail, and most of the direct mail goes in the trash.
Okay,
right.
so quickly, can you kind of give us a summary of social media?
Well, social media is, in summary, is a way for you to connect with others to further your organization, your company, your personal your personal exposure in the digital world, provided that you've got some relevancy to share.
So therefore, you're saying you
And sometimes even if you don't.
So you're saying we want to know, like, follow, and share. That's what you're telling me?
Absolutely. You follow those 4 guidelines, and I guarantee you will get results, and your ROI will prove itself. Thanks so much for watching. Watching. Yeah, we've been on
Very
Periscope this time. So thanks so much for listening in to Two Small Biz Guys, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Check out the website. We'll have some goodies for you to download from there that we've talked about today, and we'll talk to you again soon.
And that's the number 2, Small Biz Guys.
.com. Adios.
Thank you for listening to Two Small Biz Guys with Zen Benefiel and Ray Silverstein. You can hear Two Small Biz Guys live every Wednesday at noon, or catch their show on demand anytime 24/7 right here on StarWorldWideNetworks.com.